filming and directing. Now, film directors make creative decisions to determine the look of a movie, including those that impact the special effects, filming locations, shot angles, and actors' performances. The director is heavily involved in all stages of filmmaking from the very start of the project to the end. That's the final cut. However, their role in each stage can be varied. Now we have joining us via Zoom to discuss filming and directing, John Njama, a Nollywood actor and a director. He directed movies like Window Girl, Sugar, Flatmates, and Kisom, the movie. Good morning, John Njama.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Now go ahead.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Tell us about the days, because I see Sugar and I remember the movie The Flatmates. Now this movie is one of the movies that, or what should I say, the series that kept viewers glued to their TV screen waiting on the next episode, because it was full with lessons and comedy, from that movie. Tell us about the directing of that movie, particularly The Flatmates.
Flatmates is actually ongoing. It's an Mnet series. It's actually a sitcom. And we started about 6, 7 years ago or thereabouts. And I think I can beat my chest to say that we we have been number one ever since we started. It's been a long journey for Flatmates because I was there right from inception. And all the troubles we went through to try to make this work, because I must say that sitcom or comedy is one of the most difficult genres. If you're not being witty, if you're not making people laugh, if you don't have pedagogical values, then you don't have any business doing a sitcom. So it's been a long journey, and I'm glad we're still standing strong.
All right, John, you talked about, sitcom being one of the most difficult genre, and we know that directing can be quite tasking as well. Can you tell us, how are you able to, work with actors, to help to make them, create one of their, or to create their best performances? How are you able to walk them through it?
Okay, first of all, we have a guideline. I call it a guideline, which is the script vis-a-vis the content, right? And I'm able to identify with every actor's strength and know how to push. There's a limit where you can push somebody so much that the person, nothing comes from that person. So I'm able to identify with the strength of my actors, and I'm able to input my my technical strength too, to tell them the story. I'm a visual storyteller, so I like to tell stories with images, and of course married with the content. So I did all of that, and of course I take vibe from the actors too, and I in turn give them back based on my little knowledge about directing.
All right, John, how did your directing journey start? Because we know that we've seen you in the movie world for like since ever, yes, and we started seeing you as an actor. So how did that journey, start for you to transition from an actor to directing, and why that particular path? Because you can be producer and other things, but why directing?
Do we have like 3 hours for me to tell this story so that I can start now in the next 5 hours
Go ahead,
thereabout?
it's all about you.
But but basically, I think the answer to that is one word, which is growth. I've always wanted to grow from one level of what I do to another. And yes, I started as an actor, but it got to a point in time in my life I wanted to do more, and that's why I actually studied, directing. Of course, I graduated as a theater arts person from Buffalo University, and my major too was directing. And so I just wanted to take this thing further and further, and I was just growing with the time, doing more. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to direct stories. I wanted to produce stories, and basically that, and that's what led me to doing one thing and another and another and another, and here we are.
Okay, so but do you ever miss acting?
Ah, once an actor, always an actor, and recently, for the past 2 years now, I've had people call me, I've had producers call me, I've had my friends call me telling me, John, look, you need to get back into acting because we miss you. Your thing is taking the better part of your life. And so they got in touch with me and I made out time and I started acting again. And there you are. That is our best friend's wedding.
Mm.
The director called me personally and said she would like me to be part of this. And we created time and I did that. And Sugar, I was actually an actor in Sugar, not a director. So Sugar approached me, and the same thing happened. So I'm gradually trying to make out time for my one, well, I would say one and only love because I started as an actor. I can never stop being an actor. I don't think I can ever stop being an actor. I will always be an actor. I will always be a creative-minded person. I will always tell stories. I
Indeed,
will always be a
John.
thing.
Like I said, we are used to seeing your face,
On
on
TV.
TV since ever. Because I know there was one series that I was glued to. The name, eludes me now, but you were a writer, and it was more like the flatmates, but you were a
Oh,
writer with your group of friends, and you don't go out. So that movie gave me. I watch every details, of movie, and I'm hoping, that we could rub mind on directing thing. But you watch details, and movie, it's all about details, and you have in every step of your acting career, or should I say, translate a role in a way that it comes out amazing. So when you are given script or when you get called up for a job for directing, how do you pick the movie you work for or you work with?
okay. I think I remember the movie you're talking about, The Bachelors, where I played Bode,
That's it.
the very serious, melancholic. I, after we're done with The Bachelors, I think I was still in that character for a long time. It took me a while to get out of that character. So back to your question, how do I prepare for a role? I, first of all, the script has to say something. It has to resonate with me. I don't do what they call the hello, how are you, goodbye, the live happily ever after. There has to be something in that script. And I think my persona, my being, and my creative minded person, uh, um, by default, can tell what will work and what will not work. So when I've accepted to take part in whatever it is, I begin to do my research, and my research asks questions. How do you want to play this role? What do you want to bring on the table? What about this person do you know? What kind of cloak does he wear? How do you want to embody yourself into this character? And of course, with the little input I get from the director, I marry it with what I have, my research and all of that. And I get busy, and it's a process that one cannot really tell you stage for stage how it works. But the most important thing is to understand that you need to understand what you're doing as an actor. You need to understand your role, or whatever role you want to play. You need to understand the script. You need to understand what the director's vision is, and all this put together just makes for a good work. So I do my homework.
Okay. When I actually see directors and producers, one thing I know or I marvel at is their patience, and this is something I think I don't really have. But talking about patience, what other skills do you think, or would you say, a director needs to have, when embarking on a project? What skills?
Uh okay. I've said this several times, and that's one thing that most directors need to understand that if you are an authority over what you do, your crew members will respect you. if you know what you're doing as a director, your actors will respect you. And so, by and large, the director has to be a manager of people. You know, he doesn't have to be bossy. You know, you need to understand everybody's temperament, and above all, you need to understand the core values of what he's doing. You know, patience is key. You know that sometimes things just don't work, and you want to flare up, and you want to be upset, and you want to. Your actors are looking at you. Your crew members are looking at you, so they rely on you to help them paddle the ship to shore. Because chances are, if you lose it, the rest of your crew members will lose it. If you lose it, your actors will not believe in you. So you want to carry that belief, that trust across board, you know, and marry it with the fact that you know what you want to do. And finally, I think it is important for a director to pay attention to detail. It's very important. That's one of the major things I learned from my madam, late Amaka Igwe. She was always slamming it on my head. So whatever you do as a director, pay attention to detail. That little thing that you think will not work or you can disregard, by and large, is vital to the overall progression of what you're doing. So paying attention to detail is key amongst many other things.
John, Nollywood has come a long way. I mean, we started from seeing
It has.
a lot of bloopers, you know, to perfection, and it's still growing. And when it's compared to a lot of movie industries in Africa, Nollywood would be considered, you know, number one, top notch. But then we still have a long way to go. So as a director who has eyes for details, you know, how would you say Nollywood need to push further in order to achieve a global standard when it comes to movies, you know, for Nollywood movies to be nominated in big, huge awards like the Academy Awards?
There's so much we can do, and I think we are on the road already, because I'm a member of Nigerian Oscar Selection Committee, and I know what I've seen in terms of you know, the selections being brought to us and all of that. And I think that yeah, like I said, we're on the road. But my concern is the fact that and I think I say this loosely, I think we're beginning to get on that part. We need to begin to tell our stories as it affects us. You know, you cannot tell a Western story more than the Western people. We have strong cultural values, we have traditional values, we have moral values as it affects us in Nigeria and even in Africa. I think we should dig deep into all of that, into that bowel, and try to bring out something. Um, I'm sure you noticed that even the Western world are beginning to tell our stories, and I think we're in trouble on that note. But yeah, let's tell our stories as it affects us as Africans, as Nigerians, and
Exactly. Speaking on
let's
stories, you know,
let's 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 learn not to compromise standard. I think some of us compromise a lot. You know, we just compromise. We need to understand that we should be shooting for a higher level. We should be shooting for the Oscars. We should be shooting works that would take us, you know, that can be seen, that has universal appeal and all of that.
okay, you know, speaking on stories, you know, you mentioned the Western people bringing the Nigerian, the African story, even more than the Nigerian people, which is something that, you know, we feel like the industry is shying away from. Uh, People think that Nigerians would prefer, or the viewers would prefer to see something from the Western world. But it's just like you said, the Western world are already telling their stories. So it's up to the Nollywood to come tell their own. So in the industry in Nigeria, we have Nollywood, there is the Yoruba wood, there is the Kannywood. Is there any way of you people, you know, plans of you people merging this thing? Because there is talent from every angle from, you know, this particular industry. So is there any way that you directors, filmmakers, producers are planning on sitting down to merge this in order to bring out a powerful force?
Firstly, we need to understand that the Nigerian movie industry is predominantly made up of independent producers. You know, we have just few houses that are established, and everybody's fighting for his own. Whether we like it or not, we're all fighting for that recognition. And there's no time for me to start to merge, so to speak. But what I can do in terms of what you just suggested is to inculcate certain values. For example, I'm doing a movie, I can inculcate the Yoruba values, I can inculcate the Northern values vis-a-vis the Kannywood and Yoruba wood into what I do. You know, collaboration is key. And I think some of us have started that already. I mean, I just came up the phone with a friend, and three of us were trying to collaborate to do something for Amazon Prime, and it's been approved. So yes, collaboration is key, and it's possible for us to begin to think that we can merge and come together and do something. So yes, it is possible, and maybe we should begin to look at it from that perspective too.
Okay, let's talk about you know, directing, because, and this is for the sake of, you know, those who are interested in becoming directors or those who are actually watching this interview right now. We're still talking about how tasking, you know, it can actually be. How are you as a director able to, you know, tackle projects with very tight deadlines and also very challenging terrain? Talking about terrain, we all know how sensitive and, you know, how, you know, Nigeria is. It can be very, very difficult. How are you able to, you know, tackle such projects in such, very tight deadline, and also the terrain?
I think I'm one director that this might come out cheeky, but I work better under pressure. I don't know how I do it, but I just know that I work better under pressure. And why am I able to do that? Because whether you like it or not, the challenges are there. And whether you panic or you get angry or whatever you want to do, the challenges are still there. The problems are still there. So I've worked up myself over the years. It takes a lot of practice to realize that the core job is more important than any other problem. So instead of panicking, I think it's best to concentrate to fix the problems. And I think I've learned over the years to keep my cool, really, largely because I know what I'm doing, and I don't think any problem is big enough for me in a way that I cannot handle, no matter what it is. Don't forget that the creative industry can be very flexible. So I try not to be rigid. So if I'm being boxed in or confined in a particular fixation, you know, vis-a-vis all the troubles and all that, there are ways you can improvise and shift without compromising content or standard. There are always ways around these things as long as you know what you're doing.
All right. Earlier, you actually talked about, you know, working on something for Amazon Prime. What other projects do you actually have on ground, or are you planning to work on?
I just commissioned three different writers, and they're almost done. I want to shoot two movies for the festivals, majorly for the festivals. And I've been commissioned by a distributor. Maybe I'll keep the name out for now until it's made public, to do another two movies for their platform. And so my hands are full at the moment, and thank God for that.
Yeah, that's good to know.
All right, let's talk about the financial rewards, you know, of filming and directing. These days, there are no movies or CDs, no cassettes. So there is no piracy, which used to be the major problem for Nollywood movies back then. So right now, all we have are cinemas, and we all know that there are not enough cinemas in Nigeria in order for movie makers to make back their money. So what's the plan of the movie making, the filming, and directors, producers, stakeholders involved? What's the plan on that?
I think the plan is the same old, and thankfully there are a few areas where you can make your money, your returns as a producer. And for example, we have the YouTube. A lot of people are making movies for the YouTube and breaking a lot of cash. And we have the made for TV platforms like the Baka, the Roku, the African movie channels, and of course, we have the big streamers, the Amazon Prime, the Netflix, and what have you. So these areas make it enough. Well, I should say some money for the producers, depending on the level of the movie and your power of bargaining.
Okay, John, now let's come back to something a bit personal. And now, I'm sure you watch the news and you know what is actually happening to some of our celebrities, especially, the couples and all that. So many celebrity marriages, have broken up. A lot is happening. And I remember recently you celebrated your wedding anniversary. If I'm not mistaken, is it the seventh wedding anniversary? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Seventh, yeah.
Yes, seventh wedding anniversary. And how are you able to keep, your marriage together? And this is something that I know a lot of celebrity couples cannot actually do. How are you able to keep your family also away from the limelight?
Um, I wrote an article a few months back, and it has to do with the couple thing. And I said, if your wedding is rosy, if your marriage is rosy, then there's a problem. Problems abound, and it just depends on how you're able to navigate your way around it. And for me, I've always been a very private person, but not thanks to social media. If you, my life is out there in the public, but then again, I know the kind of things I want to post to encourage people and all of that. So I, I know how to mind my business as one. I really know how to mind my business, and I try not to bring the issues I face at home, with family into the public and into public space. There are issues, we have issues, but I think thanks to God, I'm able to sort of navigate my way around all of that. And my wife is a very private person, so we are just not in everybody's face. And I've learned over the years, to just to navigate. Really, I really don't have pointers, so to speak, concerning how I navigate my private life and my family life, and to get out of that. It's just that this God's been faithful, and I had to mind my business. I really don't know how to explain all of that, but I know how to mind my business basically.
The minding the business, there
Very
was
important.
emphasis on that. Yes, it's a
Very,
good thing
very.
actually about drinking water and minding your business. All right, John, let's talk about the scandals, in the movie industry. As a director, one way or another, two actors having issues would definitely affect your work if they should meet on the same set. So have you ever had situations like that where you had to be the middleman in order to make the work, very smooth?
Yes, I've had several issues with that, and I what I do, I just speak with them, especially if I'm in the know of what is happening. I just bring them together and I talk to them because they need to understand that whatever they have um, is not as important as what they've come to do together here. And the fact that both of them are going to be playing alongside each other, they need to kill whatever it is. I've had issues where I've taken the said people out independently just to talk to them, one on one, then bring them together, and that works for me. That works. You can run away from these things in the industry. and not just the actors. Sometimes even the crew members too. You realize that you have two cinematographers on your set, and both of them are not in good terms with one another. So you just kill whatever it is before the job. The job is more important.
What is your most challenging moment, in your directing career that you can remember?
Oh, amongst many, right? There. I remember one time we went to shoot, and we came back from this particular location, and we realized that the drives were bad. We had lost 50% of our shoot, and we had a deadline. That was very challenging. What it meant is that we needed to go back all the way and shoot all the scenes over and over again. That is one, and another one amongst many again. Like I said, deadline, day of shoot. Realized that a particular actor was not available, and we had about 15 scenes to shoot. So quick on the draw, I got to my producers, and we sat down, and immediately before noon we got somebody else, and of course shoot was cancelled for the whole of that day. It destabilized us a bit, but then again we bounced back the next day, and picked up shoots amongst many, just a few.
All right. Well, some would actually say you're walking the shoes of your older brother Akila, who is also a director. But uh, are we seeing? I don't know. Have you collaborated with him before on a movie, or do you have plans of doing that anytime soon?
Okay, maybe I should correct one notion here. Aquila and Gemma is my younger brother.
Okay, younger brother. Oh, oh, yeah.
Yes, a lot of people make that mistake, and but then again, it's okay. It's okay. Uh, yes, myself and Aquila, we've worked together um, a few times, and yes, we have plans to work together again. In fact, coincidentally, he's in Abuja, and he's coming to Lagos sometime in August, and he wants me to help him out with something. I think we're going to collaborate on that too. We did, as as a director, I acted for him a few times. A movie called If a few years ago, and so yes, we've done a few things together. He's also been on my set as an actor, but yeah, so maybe not collaborate as director, but when he's directing, and sometimes I act for him, and the other way around too. So maybe as directors, we
All right,
will come together and do something.
okay, but I would love you to, tell us how it feels, having you and your siblings actually work together in the same space. You have a sister, Empress, who, is an actress. You have your brother, a director. You're also an actor and a director. How does it feel having your siblings, working together in one space?
It's like a Bollywood
Yeah.
family.
Hollywood friend, Nollywood family.
It it feels good. It feels really, really good. Um, Empress has been on my set a few times, and we've actually been on set together. Uh, there was a movie Aquila directed, and myself and Empress were actors in that movie, and the Empress was my girlfriend. Yes,
Wow.
it's called Heartbeat. It feels good, because growing up, personally, I was very particular about the growth of my siblings, and they are they've built wings for themselves, and they are flying high, and it gladdens my heart each time I see them do anything, in the industry. So yes, it feels really good. It feels really good. Empress over the years, I remember, when she started getting roles and all of that, I must go through her script before telling her it's a yes or it's a no. You know, I just have to go through that script to help her know what kind of role she should be playing. And of course, Aquila started directing a long time ago, and I remember when it used to be called the whiskey. It's one of the very first whiskeys we had in the industry, not the whiskey we have now. And so it gladdens my heart really each time I see them soar, and each time we're on set together.
All right, John, thank you so much. And, I would say that Empress, is glad that, or should I say she was glad. It's one of the best things to have someone to guide her. So quickly, as a director, what advice would you give, up and coming directors out there in a quick note?
Mm. I think before you venture into this thing called direction, you must be prepared for what you're going to get. You must be ready. You must have a strong drive. You must be disciplined, and you just have to study as much as possible, because just when you think that you've gotten to a certain level where you know everything about directing, it moves further, and so you need to catch up with studies. You need to be humble. You need to know how to talk to people. You need to respect people, and you need to fight for your space, fight to get it right. Do not compromise. And I think with all these values, maybe there's going to be some kind of growth moving forward.
All right, well, thank you so much. We actually have so many more questions to ask, but sadly, time is not on our side. But thank you so much, John Njama, for taking time out of your very, very busy schedule to, answer some of our questions. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.